What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. And it's actually been a little bit tough lately for me to stay consistent with my daily uploads because I've been extremely busy lately. As you guys may know, and I mentioned this before, I was in Vegas and then I got back and I actually closed on this property. And so I've been rolling around with my contractor, getting things ready to renovate this property. And, the renovations have already began and everything's moving at an extremely quick pace. That in and of itself, the acquisition of this property was actually a manifestation in and of itself. And the entire process went together extremely smoothly. It flowed super effortlessly. And it's a great example of inspired action. The opportunity came up at the perfect time, and really everything just kind of fell into place. And like I always talk about, there was action that I needed to take. Lucy, who I interviewed just the other day, and this is my most recent video with that conversation I had with her, she likes to say that you need to meet the universe halfway. And I absolutely agree with that. That is what I talk about on this channel, is that action, by taking action, you are walking with faith. You are showing the universe that you believe that you deserve this, that you believe that this is normal for you. And it's one of the best ways that you can do that, because the type of person that you're being, by taking that action, is the type of person who is preparing for success. I like to use this example a lot because it's a common one, Stephen Pressfield being an author, being a writer, but the classic example, writing is one of the oldest forms of creativity, right? And any of us engaged in creative work, it's a great metaphor, but the author that sits down and begins writing and begins to write his books, even though there's nobody reading them yet, there's nobody there's no readership, there's no audience yet, they are preparing for success. They are taking that action, and that is showing in the direct language that the universe understands that, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm preparing for this opportunity, and that opportunity is, what do they say? That success is preparation meeting opportunity, right? And that's one of the practical things that we need to understand when we're drawing in those things that we want into our reality, is that, yes, like me being somebody who's aware of properties out here, who's aware of the things, all the stars aligned at the perfect time to actually execute this deal. And again, it's something that I had been paying attention to actually for the past couple of years. So if you guys are interested in this, I can give you guys a breakdown in a future video. I can even give you guys a little walkthrough through the property itself, show you what I'm doing, showing you what my plans are for it, how I'm planning on generating money with it, and just all of the kind of takeaways and insights that I can share with you guys about the entire process from before it even occurred, my preparation, thought process that went into it, and how when it was time, taking the inspired action and allowing it to basically flow to me. So that would be an interesting video. If you guys are interested in that, let me know down below, and I can definitely do a video or maybe two covering the different aspects about it, and like I said, my plans for it and whatnot as well. But in today's video, I wanted to share this post from the Neville sub here again. We're back on the Neville sub, and again, there are really great success stories on this subreddit, and sometimes I just go on this subreddit, read a story real quick, and get a bunch of inspiration. So that's what I want for you guys. I want to break this down, give you guys my 2 cents on it as per usual. So here it is. Inner conversation experiment, super fast success story. TLDR. You don't need to imagine a specific person or voice for inner conversations to manifest a goal. You can just imagine a voice telling you that you have what you want, and it'll still work. In my opinion, inner conversations is one of the most underrated techniques. We have inner conversations a lot, but unconsciously, like having imaginary arguments with people or thinking of comebacks we could have said to somebody who's insulted us well after the fact, and then we wonder why we have strained relationships with these people. Well, as conscious creators, we should generally strive to have more positive conversations in our head because those conversations put us directly in the state that creates or dissolves relationships. This success story isn't about specific people, however. I had gained about 20 pounds over the past couple years by unconsciously having crappy thoughts about my body whenever I looked in the mirror. I knew I was doing this and I would try to imagine myself thinner, but then I couldn't stop looking in the mirror and thinking the opposite. I decided to just go on a diet and lose weight the old fashioned way. I dropped 5 pounds, but I just couldn't stop being critical of my body. I would try to do affirmations and visualize, but I just felt too big no matter what I did. I got even more strict on my diet and started going to the gym every morning, but nothing was working. Recently, I noticed myself, and again, this is going back to you can't outdo who you are. If you have a self image, a self concept that is somebody that is overweight, you are going to revert back to that. And we see this time and time again within any different realm of life that your baseline, wherever you think you are, based on the inner conversations, based on the story you're telling yourself, based on the limiting beliefs. And that's why I have this guide down below in the description that you guys are free to download to go in, dig out, identify those beliefs, dig them out, and recreate that new baseline, that new identity, that new self-concept, self-image, so that you actually can make transformations in your life. Because even if you have a short-term change, like she mentioned, she lost a little bit of weight, but then goes back. This happens all the time in the realm of weight gain. It also happens there's that show, The Biggest Loser. Even the people that go on these crash diets, they immediately, it's like they overeat and binge eat again as soon as it's done, or as soon as they're off the show. And you see this again. It happens in other things besides weight, but that is one area where you can visibly see it happening all the time. So, right. So she started going to the gym every morning, but nothing was working. So recently I noticed myself having a lot of inner arguments with somebody. Every time I would think about them, I would immediately begin telling them off in my head, and it wasn't long before an actual fight arose. It occurred to me that I should imagine us having a more pleasant conversation, as I'd used this technique successfully with them a lot. While I was scripting this reconciliation, a thought popped into my head. Maybe I could just imagine somebody telling me I looked skinny. I thought about the people I knew and tried imagining a natural sounding conversation. But I felt a bit of inner resistance for some reason. I wondered if I could just imagine a conversation with no one in particular and see if it worked that way. So in my head, I repeated the feeling of hearing, wow, you have a really nice body. And myself replying, oh, thank you. This was last night. Then this afternoon, so I wonder like if she visualized, if there was any accompanying visualization to this, or if she says repeated the feeling of hearing, wow, you have a really nice body. So almost just like hearing a voice in her head telling her this, right? Then this afternoon, I was at school on break between classes. I was checking myself out in the bathroom mirror and noticed I actually do look a lot slimmer today. Then I walked out and was reading a poster, and one of my instructors walked by me, and she turned to me and said, you have a very cute figure. And she started asking me if I worked out and what kinds of exercise I did. Cool. So that is the post. Now there's some comments here that we'll read through and then we'll break this down. So this is what a mental diet is all about. It's essential. I've known about LOA for an embarrassingly long amount of time, but only superficially. I've only been really studying and practicing it for the past 2 to 3 years. Being mindful of my inner dialogue is absolutely what made the biggest shift. And that's why I always talk about, guys. That is what robotic affirming is, the ability to essentially insert new thoughts into your subconscious or into your narrative, into your inner conversations, because affirming is just another way of saying inner conversations. What is the conversation that you were having with yourself? What is the story that you're telling yourself all day long throughout the day? And so now you realize you have the power to insert any thought of your choosing into your mind. And it doesn't have to be quote unquote real. You don't have to necessarily see evidence of it appearing true in your real life 3D outer world before you do this. You can begin doing this now. That is the power that you have. You've been blessed with this power, and that's what is so important to realize, is that by doing this, you are shifting the story, you are shifting the script. And that's where it all begins, because whatever actions that you're taking, again, if you don't really believe that that's possible for yourself, you do this by a combination of rewriting that script, retelling yourself this, and taking action towards your goals. If you're just sitting on the couch all day robotic affirming it, you're probably not going to get that much results in your life, okay? Just to be straight up and honest with you, regardless of what you've heard, right? All my success stories, and I've shared this in my robotic affirming video, the number one most popular video that I've created so far, that when I was doing this, I was doing sales and I was doing sales, but I was also giving myself these instructions every single day. So it's about showing up for yourself in both ways, in your inner world and in your outer world. That's how you truly take the reins back on your life and on your power and make immense, radical changes in your life, where time is like doesn't even exist anymore almost, because you're operating with speed. See, the universe loves speed. If you were just slowly just going through like everybody else, all these NPCs around here, all the sheep that are walking around, the 99% of people around here, they're going through life at such a slow pace. It's evident in the way that they speak, in the way that they move, in the way that they talk. When I'm out and about, I was at Home Depot yesterday, and it's like me and my buddy are there. We're trying to get in and out of there because we got stuff we got to do. We're trying to set up these, actually we set up these canopies out in the yard yesterday. We did the entire thing all on ourselves, all on our own. We did the entire thing. We got these metal posts. We started out in the morning, got these metal posts. They're long, like 15-foot posts. Then we got them chopped off. We brought them in this truck, put the straps on, held them down, brought them over here, put them into the ground. Well, we dug out the ground with this thing. It's called like a predator or something. It's got like a drill. And so you dig it down, dig up the earth, got the wheelbarrow, dug the dirt out, put the poles in the ground, picked up the quick set cement, mixed the cement in a bucket in the wheelbarrow with water, poured it in so that it now is stable, poured in the concrete, drilled some holes in the posts too so that we could put the pulleys in there. And we did this all literally yesterday within a matter of hours, right? People will have these projects or home improvement projects or whatever and dilly-dally, and they won't get anything done or they'll drag a project out for days or weeks or months even. We literally did all this today. I can show you guys in the backyard. The canopy's already up. But what I'm saying is when we were at Home Depot yesterday, people are just moving like in slow motion, like turtle speed. Like, do you guys not have anywhere you want to be? You guys not value your time? It's insane to me the way that people move out here. So forgive me for going off on a little tangent, but my point being that the universe loves speed. If you want to manifest in your life, you want to have speed with what you're doing. You want to be active. You don't want to just sit there and be passive. So anyways, going through the rest of this comment. So my mental health drastically improved as well. I didn't push my feelings away though. I just deal with them in a more healthy way. Neuroplasticity is a wonderful thing. Now that I'm mindful of my inner dialogue, things that have been going great. I got a part-time job that pays well and I love doing it. I got hired despite a 5-year gap in my resume, and now I'm in the process of buying a 2-bedroom apartment by myself. I'm nearing 40 and I've never looked better or felt better. Yeah. And just to finish out this point, that's not even the only thing I did yesterday. I was rolling around with my contractor, like I said, and we were going and looking at flooring. We picked out the exact, using this herringbone tile for the like master bath, the shower, picked that out, figured that out, got it, went to 2 different Lowe's so that I could get all the tile because they only had like 5 boxes at one. I needed like 8 boxes total. And we're just making moves. Like they've already done like most of the demolition too. They tore the wall down. We're maybe going to be tearing another wall down. And so we're just getting to it. There's no reason to wait. If you know what you want, if you know where you're going, and that's why having a vision for what you want is so important as well, because now you have confidence because now you know where you're going. Most people don't craft a vision for what they want in their life. So they're at the whim, at the mercy of everybody around them. They're at the mercy of their environment, just going through the motions, going at this slow snail speed throughout life. They're not even going anywhere. They have no direction. And my buddy played this voicemail that this guy left him yesterday, and he sounds lost because he has there's no intentional energy behind what he's saying. He's talking about crypto and talking about AI and like all this stuff, and it doesn't even make sense what the guy's saying. And what I want you guys to notice is as you go throughout your life, as you go throughout your day and you interact with people, And I'm not trying to just put like, I'm not trying to be like a downer. I just want you guys to be aware of how few people really actually have this intentionality behind what they're doing, know where they're going, know what they want out of life. It's very evident when you run into somebody like this. They speak with like authority. They speak with conviction because they know what they want. Most people don't know what they want at all, and so they're kind of just sitting there like in a daze, in a hazy kind of cloud of confusion. I talk about our diet doesn't help. The fact that we don't get enough physical exercise doesn't help. None of these things help. And that's why, again, my approach to reality creation, whatever you want to call it, goal achievement, if you want to even call it at a more practical point of view, is grounded in all of this. Learning about psychology, learning about human nature, learning about how to get better habits, learning about how to take in better information, how to take in better food, how to practice a lifestyle that is conducive towards having more energy, towards having more certainty about what it is that you want and where you're going. And it all is connected. I would encourage you guys to watch my interview with Lucy. I can link it right above here from the other day because she is somebody that has also been able to have success with her business as an entrepreneur. She lives in a beautiful villa in Spain. She has a great relationship with her husband, it sounds like. She cares about herself. She cares about her diet. She takes care of herself in her environment. And listening to somebody like her, listening to people that are on this path, that actually are doing the work and are not afraid either to like I said, take this holistic approach, is going to be very, very valuable. You want to listen to people that are actually doing things in their life, not people that are just on a Reddit thread talking about their supposed successes, because a lot of the time these people they're in an echo chamber and talking about theory. And again, like, would you want to learn about business from somebody, a multimillionaire who has a successful business, or do you want to learn about business from some professor that is just teaching business out of a business textbook? Which would you rather do? You have to ask yourself that. So the OP of this post replied to this comment. I've been studying the law for a long time as well, and I'm always under the impression that mental diet was about replacing negative thoughts with affirmations, but the dialogue technique feels so much more natural. Yeah, that's maybe there is a distinction here of this particular technique of how they're just, oh, you really have a nice body. They're imagining somebody telling them this, right? But ultimately, it's the same thing because you are replacing thoughts and replacing this dialogue that you're having with yourself with a different thought. But let's see what the reply here is. I think that's a common misconception. Small part of this diet is using affirmations to remind yourself that your desire is already here. But for the most of it is controlling negative self-talk or negative talk towards your desire. For example, you affirm that you are wealthy, but the rest of your day, your inner dialogue is like, the economy sucks, everything's so expensive. Have you seen the price of this? I can't afford this, I can't afford that, etc. Self-diet and self-concept are very much intertwined. And the OP again says, yes, this was my problem with the weight. Every time I'd pass by a mirror, I was like, oh, I'm so fat. Can I ask what sort of inner dialogue you use for money and buying a home? I've tried telling myself, wow, I can afford everything in this store, but it's tough when I'm a full-time student watching their budget somewhat. Yeah, this is actually very interesting. And I do see what they're saying here, drawing this distinction, because when you're imagining somebody telling you something, it's a little bit different than you just simply affirming it, right? And that actually could be, valuable. If you want to go ahead and imagine, and that's why I talk about the vague statements to yourself are really good, because they're more acceptable to the subconscious. Telling somebody or saying to yourself or hearing a voice tell you, wow, you're so awesome, you're so well spoken, or you have a really nice body, as she did in this example, will cause much less resistance than saying, wow, I can't believe I'm only 140 pounds or 105 pounds, or I can't believe I'm making $2 million this year, or like going for these very specific things. I like the vague approach because again, it's less objectionable to the subconscious. And once you kind of build momentum, I think there's room there where you can get more specific with your goals and stuff. And again, every different technique is different. Lucy has this scripting technique about writing a letter to herself, but that is a completely different technique. And so when it comes to affirming, I really like the approach of the kind of vague encouragement that you get, whether you're hearing it from some other voice or you're hearing it from yourself. But I do think that the other voice can be really valuable. And I think that's another reason, I've mentioned this before on the channel, that hypnotherapy and hypnosis can be very valuable, because you're hearing a voice that's telling you in an authoritative way, you are confident, or you are you are extroverted, you are well liked, you are sociable, and you are lovable, whatever it might be. You have a great body. And sometimes hearing an external voice telling us that we are these qualities can kind of allow ourselves to feel it real, because we feel like, oh yeah, wow, this somebody's telling me, somebody really does appreciate this about me, rather than just telling yourself over and over again. But again, I think there's a place for both. I think both can be powerful, but switching it up and trying it with different things can be useful. And some of the affirmation tapes in the UR format, though, that's why I prefer that format. Again, I've done, I have affirmation tapes on my channel, and there's other people that do them in the I am format versus the UR format. And again, I prefer the UR format, because when you're listening to this voice telling you, you are this, that is the way that hypnotists or people that do hypnotherapy, that is the way that they do it. Because for them to tell you I am this would just be kind of weird, right? It'd be kind of strange, because it's when somebody says I am, they're talking about themselves, right? That's how your brain will that's why they don't do that in hypnotherapy. But anyways, I'm going to go through this one last comment and then wrap this up. So, how do you become more mindful of it? Lately, I've realized that I'm in my head all day, beating myself up and being so horrible to myself. Unfortunately, I'm usually not aware that this has happened until later in the day when I'm feeling like crap. I think we've all been there. So, well, you've realized it. That's the first most important step. Now that you know that it's happening, you'll automatically become more aware of it, but you could set an alarm, maybe a subtle ding every hour or a few hours, that reminds you to be more aware of your inner dialogue. Then, when you catch yourself thinking something negative, gently pivot towards a more loving thought. Don't beat yourself up. Sometimes you need to take little steps. Observe your thoughts and investigate. This is common in therapy. For example, you catch yourself thinking, I'm such a loser, I always mess things up. Now look for ways you can prove that statement, but more importantly, ask for ways you can disprove that statement. Do you really always mess things up? Aren't there instances when you didn't? Are you really a loser? Do you not have any redeeming qualities? And that's what's so important about that too, is like getting away from that black and white thinking. It's like when we go in a negative spiral, everything turns black. Everything is like this all or nothing thinking. And it's very important to be aware of that and get away from that, right? This self-questioning can be very useful in this case. If you think you're a loser because you're not rich and successful, ask yourself, if that is really what makes a person valuable, or is it what society has told you to find valuable? What do you truly value? Mansions and big cars, or kindness and authenticity? Can you find those qualities in yourself? Are there all ways you can nurture those qualities in yourself? Practice a lot of compassion towards yourself. This is where it's sometimes helpful to imagine yourself as a child. You wouldn't be so hard on a child. Why are you being hard on you now? Or you could say, would I say this to my best friend or somebody that I care about? And the answer is no. When you're talking to yourself in that negative way, you wouldn't talk to somebody that you cared about like that. This is what self-concept work and mental diet are all about, in my opinion. Imagine your mind as a lion. It's not about whipping it into submission. It's about lovingly and patiently getting it to cooperate with you, much like the strength card in tarot. You don't try to just bury away your feelings and cover them up with affirmations that you truly don't believe. It's about taking little steps towards thinking in a more healthy way. The good thing is that it gets easier and easier, thanks to neuroplasticity. The old negative pathways in your brain slowly die off. Those neural pathways, neuroscience has proven this, and the new pathways are created. It's plain old science. There you go. all of this is definitely a process, but once you get the ball rolling, you'll start to enjoy the process. And in general, when creating your life consciously, the better you get at it, the more you'll enjoy the process as well, instead of impatiently wanting it to happen right here and right now. So somebody said, do you mind sharing how you deal with these thoughts when they show up in a healthy way? They said, I explain it in this comment, linking a comment, which we can go and take a look at. They said, when I'm having a really shitty day, I just allow myself to feel shitty, watch a comfort movie, eat comfort food, have a little self-pity party, even if necessary. But I also tell myself that tomorrow's a new day. This is a very powerful statement because it gently puts the brakes on the momentum of feeling shitty without forbidding yourself to feel what you feel. And I feel like it kind of manifests a clean slate for the next day. I like that too. I really like that because, it is important to allow those feelings to pass through you. It really is. All right, guys. Much love as always. Hit me with a like. Drop a comment down below and let me know what you thought of this. Hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.